Let's talk about the Gecko 2.0 Carbine Kit as well as some pop grips. Hello friends, hello YouTube, how are you guys doing? Rainbow here with another Gecko video. It is Gecko week day 4 and today we're talking about the Gecko 2.0 Carbine Kit as well as some pump grips. First off, quick disclaimer, sorry about the delay. I had some technical difficulties. Hopefully they're solved now. Onwards with the video. You've seen this before and you're probably excited about it. This is the Gecko 2.0 Carbine Kit. It is a Rainbow Mods&Props exclusive and it's going to be available as an upgrade or complete blaster configurator later on the website. Now what is the Carbine Kit exactly? It is a stock. It is a solid shoulder stock. And before we go into the details and I explain to you how this is made, a couple of questions out of the way. No, this is not a foldable stock. No, this is not a collapsible stock. No, this is not an adjustable. Hang on, that's not quite true. It is a semi-adjustable stock and I explain how you do this. But you cannot fold this, you cannot make this compact or anything. If you have this on your blaster, you have this on your blaster. Plus side of this is, it is absolutely solid. Like it is super steady. So to start it out, the design for this stock is from Adrian himself. I approached him a while back saying, could we do like a stock for the Gecko? I was thinking something along these lines and he was, I was already thinking about something similar. So then we sat down and thought about a couple of different ways on how we could do this and came up with this edition. So all credit for the design goes to Adrian himself. And basically it is a different rear frame that has two aluminum rods in these, let's call them shoes or insert or whatever, and they are glued in place right here. Okay. Now, the first question I always probably going to get asked is, why didn't you make it collapsible so the rod slides forward here? We actually tried this and it would have theoretically worked because it's just about the right height for everything. However, there's several problems with this. Number one, if this would collapse, and if this would be collapsed, it would sit right here. You cannot hold the blaster like you would. You kind of have to go here. And you can also not prime the blaster because the slide cannot move backwards because the stock's in the way. So whenever you want to use this, you kind of have to get it out on an awkward angle, then pull out the stock, lock it in place, and then use it. Which brings us to the second problem. You would have to lock it in place. In order to make this easy, a locking mechanism would probably be in like a couple of screws, one or two on either side, that you then have to tighten. Could have been thumb screws, could have been like Allen key screws, whatever. But it would mean that you kind of pull the stock out, then have to manually tighten all those screws, and then you'd be set to go. Problem with this is it takes a long time to set up, and also it's not as sturdy as this variant now is. Everything else would have made it more complicated. So if you like have a stock that you can then adjust as well, you would kind of need some sort of spring-loaded mechanism to keep this at, into each different states. So all of that we threw out the window to make this as simple as possible, which is why this is glued in here. That means you have to get a different rear frame. So you cannot just slap this on this Gecko right here because it obviously wouldn't hold. You cannot just glue these things on there because that wouldn't last. So you're kind of making the decision if you want a Carbine Kit Gecko, and then that's what your Gecko is going to look like, unless you get a secondary frame and disassemble half the blaster and swap the frame if you don't want to use this. I know this might be a downside for some people and I can see this, that's also why I have two different setups, one with a stock and one without. But it's the easiest way to do this design and have it reliable, which is why we went with this option. So as I said, the front here will have to be a different rear frame. Those rear frames are also available in all the different variations that I spoke about in the Gecko 2.0 video. So you have M2 heat inserts in all of them, and then you can go with the standard look or the RMR frame look. Moving from the frame, these two aluminum rods, they are 8mm aluminum rods and they are 25 centimeters long by default. That's kind of my size, and as I've been told, I have a fairly huge wingspan, apparently. So I think most of you guys will be good with the 25 or might need it a little shorter. And that's where this stock becomes semi-adjustable, because in the back here these 3D printed parts are held in place with these two screws, and then those parts clamp on the aluminum rods just like so. So when you unscrew this, you can take this off. And if you find that this is too long for you, you can then cut down 1 centimeter or so on both sides, put this back on, and then it will be shorter. Of course, you cannot go back, so don't just cut 5 centimeters and then feel like, oh damn it, that was you know, too much and now it's too short. So if you get this as an assembled kit and want to adjust it, go like just a 0.5 centimeter or centimeter at a time, and then, you know, move slowly. If you get this as a kit and build it yourself, I recommend that you don't glue in the front part. You put this on, you try to see how it feels, and then, you know, if you need to adjust this, cut it off and see how you feel, and then glue in the front. This makes it just a little bit easier. Yeah, so basically, you know, just don't go too far forward too quickly, otherwise you end up with a stock that is too short. And then once you have your length, you put these back on and you never ever have to touch it, and it's going to be in your length. And that's why I say semi-adjustable, because once you've adjusted it to your size, then that's what it is. And since it's not a foldable or collapsible stock, it'll just stay exactly like that. So in addition to the standard aluminum rods that I use for the Carbine Gecko stock, there's a handful of carbon rods available. Fancy color carbon. There's literally only the ones that I'm holding right here available, because these things are ridiculously expensive. But I wanted to offer them, and I also feature them in an upcoming build, so stay tuned. So get your hands on them while they last. I don't know if I'm gonna get them again, and yeah, these things will make your Gecko stock just look so much cooler. Now, I already got a question why there is no cheek rest on this stock, and there is a very simple reason for this. If you use any sort of sight up here, you kind of would be inclined to sort of go about here to look through this, and when you prime the blaster, you're going to hit yourself in the face with the slide, which is why we didn't put one there. So now you know, and now you know everything about the Gecko Carbine Kit, and you would be good to go. And with this top prime, it works nice and easy, but in all honesty, this didn't come to be because of this setup. I had a pump grip first for the Gecko, had it installed, and then looked at it and went, I need a sort of, you know, stock. I need a sort of carbine kit from this, because this looks ridiculous without something in the back. I have tested and tried all the different pump grips that I could get my hands on, and there's 3 different variants that I chose to carry in my shop, and I'm going to explain each and every one of them to you so that you can make an educated decision on which of the pump grips you would like for yourself. So this is the first one. This is a very slick design. It's kind of an Alpha Trooper style pump grip, like a C-Clamp grip. It's done by ValTek Armory, or Vela as you may know him. And it has a very sort of, compared to the others, it has a very low profile. I mean, obviously it's bigger and all that, but I still think it's really elegant in the way that it looks and operates. Being a C-Clamp means that you kind of grab onto it like this. You can still top prime this if you really want, like with all the others that I have. You can still sort of top prime this. But you kind of want to go grab around this like so. Now, depending on the size of your hands, there might be space for 2 or 3 fingers. Now, depending on the size of your hands, this grip area down here is going to fit 2 or 3, maybe 4 fingers. God damn it, I cannot get it out of my head now. Now, depending on your hand size, this grip area down here is going to fit 2 to 3 fingers. I mostly grab it like this and have the other 2 out of the way. This is important because if you have them here and you start priming, you're gonna push and hit into the trigger guard, which is very unpleasant. So it's just like this. And then it is a straightforward pump, and we're good to go. This is overall a really nice design, and I really like how slick it is being a pump grip. Now, you've heard the squeaky noise, and this is something you cannot avoid with any of these grips, and that's because with the original grip only running across the slide being printed like this, so the layer lines run this way, and then if you prime it in the exact way of the layer lines, you're not going to hear a squeaky noise. Now, the bottom half is printed standing up, which means the layer lines are going like this, and then you're priming at an almost 90-degree angle on top and grinding on the layer lines, which is why you're going to hear this a little bit more. And also, over time, you will see in some areas where the grip actually touches the blaster, you see some wear and tear. There's nothing we can do about this. This is just something you're gonna get with this type of grip. But it'll wear itself in over time, and then it'll be fine. And before you ask, of course, there is a top cover and a sight as well for this grip. I just didn't put it on because I swapped to the next one in like a minute. So if you like an Alpha Trooper style C-Clamp pump grip, this one might be the way to go for you. Off to the next one. Now this is a complete different beast compared to everything else. This is just huge and looks, honestly, some people are going to say it looks ridiculous, and part of me agrees, but if you want to have a pump grip, you're not going to find a more comfortable pump grip than this one. This is so comfortable to use. And this pump grip is responsible for me having the idea with the stock and wanting to make this kit, because I think in this configuration, I mean, it doesn't look much like a Gecko anymore, but it looks like a funky little blaster. You may have seen something similar. It looks a little bit like this. The original design is done by Peter Oksa, and it was available on Thingiverse. I think it still is, I'm not 100% sure. Since then I have tested this and I've reached out to Peter with a couple of suggestions, and we have redesigned it and came up with this. Now you're going to see and you're going to notice a little bit of a different sort of optic aesthetic. This is a little beefier as well. And there's a bunch of changes that you're not going to see with the naked eye. Changes that are done on the inside of the grip, changes that are done to the handle down here itself. The difference between the Rainbow Mods&Props exclusive kit and this Thingiverse file is this one has been smoothed down and has a couple of changes and make it really comfortable to actually hold and use. The big changes, however, are in the top part, in the priming handle up here, because to make sure that this grip functions the best it possibly could, we've made some changes to the internal setup, some changes to the overall, because the problem with pump grips is and will always be the force distribution, especially with stronger springs. If you're wondering, by the way, there's the RMP8 spring in here, because you're going to be pulling down here where the blaster was designed to actually be pushed up here, so you kind of have to sort of accommodate for that. If you know that, if you know what you're doing, you're never ever going to be pulling your pump grip like this. You're kind of going to be holding it and pulling it backward while pushing it on an angle. So if that makes sense, you're going to go this way and not this way. But anyways, to avoid a couple of issues that I ran into with the original design, we have redesigned this, and thanks again to Peter. He's an amazing guy to work with. And now I carry this Rainbow Mods&Props design in my shop, and it works just beautifully. Slam firing a Gecko has never been that comfortable. This is phenomenal. I really like it. With this already having the big sort of look, I'd really recommend you go for an extended barrel and put on some form of front suppressor onto this, because now you're gonna get a look that, yeah, not a Gecko, like some people are gonna say it's ridiculous. I think it's really awesome. It kind of has like a, I don't know, CQB, SMG, I don't know, style to it. I don't really do firearms much, but I really like how this looks. I once even had like a big ass scope attached to this, and that would just look ridiculous, but also awesome at the same time. So now this would be like a really cool setup. If you want to get the Gecko 2.0 Carbine Kit and have it set up with a pump grip, and just because you like the big look and the aesthetic of it, I recommend going with this pump grip because it's the most comfortable out of all of them. It will lock you down in the whole like I have this massive pump grip sort of system, which our next contender will not do. But if you want to go for the big look and the whole Carbine Kit experience, I recommend going for this one. And for our last grip, we're coming back to the Gonzo grip system, because the Gonzo grip system also offers the optional pump grip variant. You can go both ways, by the way. You can have a C-clamp using this and a part that sits on a rail, and you can have a full-on pump grip here. And then it operates exactly the same way as a pump grip would. So just like this, you can get rid of the pump grip and can throw this little gadget onto the rail, and you get yourself a C-clamp style grip that works exactly the same as the Alpha Trooper grip or the Vela grip, but you have the flexibility of getting rid of this and putting the other one back on. Gonzo grip system. The option of the Gonzo pump grip is a little bit smaller than the one you've seen last, and honestly it does feel a little bit different ergonomically, because the pump grip sits just a little bit lower and also is straight. The other one is slightly on an angle. That will come down to personal preference really. But this pump grip is designed with the Gonzo grip system, so you can see the Gonzo grip system is a lot more than just a grip. But I'll cover this thing completely in tomorrow's video, so come back for that because there's even more to this grip system. However, this design, so if you grip it like this and pull backwards, you end up just under the trigger, so you have no issues of smashing your fingers into here. You could technically just not get this grip and just get the C-Clamp and then use your own aftermarket foregrip. However, some of them have different heights, so the clearance with this I cannot guarantee because that will depend on your grip that you're using. If you're using the one that comes with the Gonzo kit, it works just fine. Alright, to sum up this video, the Gecko Carbine Kit is definitely something that is a personal taste, a personal preference. I know some of you go like, oh yeah, pistol grip carbine kit's a little bit off. Others are going to go, yay, grip. And it's somewhere in there. I do enjoy playing with this in the pump grip setup, like the full-on carbine kit with pump grip and everything. I do enjoy playing with this a lot. Funny enough, this makes me play differently with this blaster than when I'm just running the pistol one. Like, even in my movement and everything, but because like when I have the stock, I actually shoulder this a lot then. As for the pump grips, that'll come down to personal preference if you want to use them at all and which one you want to use. If you like the Alpha Trooper style, then it's either going to be the Velo grip or the Gonzo grip with the rail attachment underneath. If you want to go just full pump grip, you have the option of the big, the one by Peter, as well as the Gonzo grip. Again, if you go Gonzo grip, you can go back and forth as much as you like. If you go with one of the others, you're kind of stuck with the thing that you've chosen. So in tomorrow's video there will be a full breakdown of the Gonzo grip system, showing off all the features that this grip system has. There's even more than you've seen already, and actually my personal favorite still hasn't been revealed. So make sure to come back for tomorrow's video, and until then, love and sunshine, my friends.